Welcome to today's Explainer. We're jumping right in today because I am absolutely thrilled to break down the anatomy of a truly gripping, perfectly layered psychological thriller. We're looking at a brilliantly constructed narrative pitch called Blood on 42, created by Claudia D. Reid. Let me tell you, this is not just your run-of-the-mill cat-and-mouse story. It's a total masterclass in tension, character duality, and peeling back the layers of a massive, multi-generational conspiracy. We're going to explore exactly how a tight, domestic thriller explodes into something much, much darker. We'll track how the trap is set, how it's sprung, and how an incredibly resilient protagonist manages to completely turn the tables.
So what happens when your absolute last lifeline out of poverty turns out to be a carefully laid trap? Let's dive into our inciting incident and the really desperate situation of our protagonist. Because, every great thriller needs a vulnerable target, and our hero, Claudia Reid, fits the bill perfectly. But make no mistake, she's not naive, she is simply out of options. We really have to ask ourselves, how does a smart person walk willingly into the crosshairs of a serial predator? Well, it all starts with pure desperation.
Picture this. It's a gritty, dark, totally cinematic atmosphere. You have a solitary figure facing this incredibly daunting journey. Claudia is leaving her entire life in Harlem in the rearview mirror. She steps onto train 42, which is known as the Pennsylvanian, completely and utterly unaware that she is walking right into the dead center of an active federal investigation.
Let's be real about the harsh facts of Claudia's vulnerability here. She's 55 years old. She's been unemployed after 5 brutal years of absolute financial collapse, and then comes the final blow, a bright yellow eviction notice slapped on her apartment door. She locks that door for the last time with literally nowhere left to go. And sadly, this makes her the absolute perfect target for a predator who specializes in hunting isolated people.
But then, on the flip side, we get the lure. Right as Claudia's world is completely falling apart, she's getting these sweet late-night texts from a guy named Daniel Smart. Daniel is this charming, polished oil and gas executive she's been chatting with online for about 8 months. He sends messages just dripping with hope, promising affection and a fresh start, telling her Pittsburgh is waiting for her. He is providing exactly what she needs at the exact second she needs it. But as we're going to see, Daniel's timing? Yeah, it's not a coincidence. It is a cold, hard calculation. Okay, enter our wild card. Just as Claudia is settling into her seat on the train, this massive, quiet guy sits down right across from her. This is Rex Steele. He's an ex-CIA operative who operates very much in the gray zone, and he's been tracking Daniel Smart's every single move for 14 months. Rex didn't just happen to buy a ticket for this train, he saw Claudia's name on the passenger manifest and intercepted her. His presence on that train instantly cranks the thriller tension up to an 11. As the train plunges into the night, Claudia and Rex move to an empty car in the back, car 14. They talk, they actually connect a bit, and then Rex just completely shatters her illusion. He pulls out his phone, swipes through surveillance photos, and delivers this chilling reality check. He tells her he's not bringing you to Pittsburgh to hurt you. He's bringing you to use you. He reveals to Claudia that she is walking directly into a deadly trap. But, interestingly, it's not the kind of trap she thinks it is. This brings us to the absolutely terrifying two faces of Daniel Smart. On one side, he presents himself as this charming executive. He's a guy who literally bakes red velvet cakes with his wife Patty out in the suburbs. But on the other side, he is an obsessive predator and a serial killer. Daniel is a guy who hunts without ever having to lift a weapon. He uses his charm, his deep pockets, and his infinite patience to isolate women who are desperately looking for a lifeline. And that brings us to a really horrifying pattern. 9. Rex reveals that Daniel was connected to 9 dead women across 9 different cities, and they all share one very specific physical trait: red hair. Every single one of them was found dead within 48 hours of Daniel traveling to their city. It's chilling.
Now, you might be wondering, why Claudia? She doesn't fit the profile, right? This is the core mechanic of the whole pitch. Claudia isn't meant to be victim number 10. She doesn't have red hair. But as Daniel's ex-wife confesses to the FBI, Daniel is bringing Claudia to Pittsburgh to be his perfect alibi. He's planning to murder a red-haired bartender named Megan Cole, and he's going to use Claudia, a respectable, mature woman from New York, as his rock-solid cover story to prove he was with her the entire time.
This all builds to an incredibly high-stakes confrontation. Claudia, who is now working with Rex and FBI agent Damon Cross, actually agrees to play along. She goes to Daniel's house. Daniel locks her in this secret room, which turns out to be a terrifying shrine to his 9 victims.
But right before he can execute his plan, Rex and Agent Cross crash the party. A brutal fight breaks out, Daniel's charming mask completely slips to reveal his pure rage, and he gets arrested. Claudia survives, she literally breaks his trap.
Now, in a standard thriller, right about here is where you'd roll the credits. Bad guy caught, hero safe, everyone goes home. But this story pulls the rug right out from under us with a masterful narrative twist. Daniel is in custody, sure, but an officer connected to him mysteriously vanishes, and a single red rose with Claudia's name on it is left on an FBI car. It forces us to ask this terrifying question. What if the serial killer we just spent all this time catching is actually just a pawn?
We find the answer hidden right in the evidence collected from Daniel's shrine. Investigators stumble onto something called the ledger, and this discovery completely shifts the entire paradigm of the story. We go from an intimate domestic thriller straight into a massive, sprawling conspiracy. The ledger is this yellowed, decades-old document filled with names, cities, and bizarre ritual symbols. Oh, and the handwriting? It definitely doesn't belong to Daniel.
The true scale of the horror hits you with this number, 42. There are 42 names in this ledger, and it traces all the way back to a cluster of missing persons from 1984. This is not just a list of victims, it's a blueprint. It's a multi-generational system, an entire hierarchy of predators that literally no one even knew existed. Looking closely at that ledger, we unpack a terrifying reality. Daniel Smart was not the criminal mastermind we thought he was. Actually, right beside his name in the ledger is a specific symbol, the ninth eye. Daniel was just an observer. He was recruit number 9 in this dark society, groomed and trained to select the next generation.
Let's trace this timeline back. It goes all the way to 1984, when a 23-year-old red-haired woman named Evelyn Hart supposedly vanished in Philadelphia. Fast forward to the 2020s, Daniel Smart begins his orchestrated hunt. And then, in 2023, the night Daniel is arrested, surveillance footage shows a mysterious older red-haired woman at the train station, just watching Claudia arrive.
Ultimately, using facial recognition and digging through old files, Agent Cross and Claudia unmask the true villain. That woman at the train station, the one leading roses, it's Evelyn Hart. The original 1984 victim never actually disappeared. She just went underground. She is the founder, the architect of the 42. She has been pulling the strings from the shadows for nearly 40 years, moving from city to city, recruiting men exactly like Daniel. You see, Evelyn built this flawless system based entirely on predictable psychological patterns, but Claudia's emotional resilience made her a total system-breaking variable. She didn't submit to Daniel. She asked questions. She fought back. By surviving, Claudia broke Evelyn's perfect decades-long pattern, and now the architect is coming for her. So what does this all mean for the screen? The creator envisions this as a highly commercial, limited television series. It's not your standard procedural. It's a cinematic, character-driven prestige drama. It perfectly blends the intimate, psychological dread of a domestic thriller with the sprawling, paranoid scope of a massive conspiracy. And the dream cast to bring this prestige vision to life, it is absolutely Emmy-worthy. You've got Tika Sumpter as Claudia, bringing that vulnerable yet quietly dangerous energy. Matt Damon stepping in as the prestige villain sociopath Daniel. Joseph Sikora as Rex, bringing that quiet, coiled violence. Kerry Russell as Daniel's fragile, unraveling wife Patty. And Josh O'Connor as the highly cerebral Agent Cross. It's a world that feels incredibly real, super dangerous, and, honestly, very sexy.
Which leaves us with a massive, provocative question to end our explainer today. Season 1 catches the serial killer, sure, but it unleashes the mastermind. With Evelyn Hart operating in the shadows for 40 years, what on earth happens when she finally goes to war with Claudia Reid? The prey has suddenly become the predator, and the series' potential here is just massive. Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive into an absolutely phenomenal story structure. Keep questioning the patterns around you, and I'll see you in the next explainer.